Okay, good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching doing the market preview for the 25th of February. It's 8:25 a.m. I am running behind. So really quick, we'll start with oil and then we'll work our way over from there. So looking at oil overnight, found my chart. So here's the profile from oil from overnight. All right, and those are my key levels that I had. And if you look at how that actually worked, so what I need to do is come in and fill this overnight in, which we will do right now. How many days do I have? That's fine. That'll be quick and painless. Okay, so that's pretty much how that worked. If you look, this is London at 2 a.m. We came down. So see these blue areas, these blue lines are I consider generally weak. What does that mean? I think that we'll get pauses or counter rotations, but they had the potential to get blown straight through. Hence why we had all that blue up there, was because when you go back and look at the profile looked like crap. See how skinny that day was? And we just rolled our way all the way through there. Hold on 1 second. File. Let's see. Open DOMs. Okay, so that should take care of itself. So, long story short, we're way extended. You can see that when you look at this profile, if I duplicate this real quick and I do this, chart settings, and I erase, let's do 3 days. Okay, erase all lines. Okay, the key thing that stuck out to me was, see this profile? This is the only point of control in this whole profile. So if you look, this is the top of the open window, right? But look, everything's been covered over except this right here. And this landed in the middle of it. It was the only point of controls is from an inside day, which makes it weaker, right? Which means it can get traded through. It can get traded through much more easily than other profiles. Let me see something here real quick. There we go. It can get traded through much more easily. And then what you notice is underneath is there's freaking absolutely nothing to hang your hat on. It's this last little anomaly right here, but really once it gets tested is the top of the open window. Then you have Dalton's gap fill, right? The mid of the half gap, which is approximately right there. So that 55.40 to 55 is my key location for finding responsive buyers and a trap below the swing low. That doesn't mean that it'll get there. It just means if it does get here, I'm very keenly interested. The big problem here is if we get underneath 55 and past the settle price of the 54.80, which on this chart, I want to make sure I have the right settle time. Okay, I do. So you have essentially the same profile here as you do here. It could easily trade all the way through, and that's how you end up with 200 and 300 point runs in CL. I'm not saying it's going to do that. Things have to be done first. The first thing that has to be established is we have to get underneath the top of the open window, past the half gap, past Dalton's gap fill, and then you can start talking about coming down. And really, this is the strongest thing down there, all the way down at 5306. I'm not saying it's going to 5306. I'm simply saying that is the strongest thing on the chart after the half gap between Dalton's gap fill, and we're clearly in trend day down so far, right? So I'll go through the setups there in a second. Moving on to NQ. So you will see this morning chart settings. Something here for a second. Overnight session with 1 minute to the open. So NQ and ES have been running straight up. We're up another 60. It's all on the same news. There's supposedly a deal with China. Who cares? The thing is broken. ES and NQ are broken. There's just not a two-way market. If you look at it, every single dip gets bought, right? So if you look overnight, we have pushed. We opened above prior day's high, consolidated. This was an old swing high. You can see how they kind of danced around it for a while. We've gotten above. My targets are higher, up near 71.93 and 72.10. I realized that you would look at it and go, well, there's got to be some kind of major resistance in between. If there is, I couldn't find it, okay? And I just don't see a reason why it can't go to 7,200. That's different than thinking that it should, or different than thinking I want to get long. I'm simply saying that I don't have a reason to stand in front of it until we get up into this trade location. And so my easiest solution for that is let it be. The first clue for today that there would be an issue is we'd get back underneath this swing low, trade back underneath that 71.01, right? That'd obviously be a big swing below the first 5-minute low. You're looking for open drive higher, open drive lower, and then a little bit later, IB high, IB low, right? And those are the clues that you'd be like, hey, we've exhausted and sucked everyone in, right? Because this thing's just a freight train, right? And the deal is, yes, there have been good shorts. There have been available shorts even in this product. What there has not been, right? What there has not been has been there's not been a regular two-way price action. And this is what I mean by that. Let's pretend for a second, I'm going to throw this up there. Let's pretend like this was resistance just for the smallest of seconds. I'm just going to throw it up there, right? What I would expect to happen is when it gets to resistance is I would expect it to come in, push down, push back up again, maybe do a little sideways, and then break. That is not what we're getting. What we're getting is we're getting push up, trade sideways, right, and then continue. Or we're getting push up, trade sideways, push up again, consolidate again, quick straight down drop with little to no rotation, and then straight back to a new high. Either way, it's hard to figure out when you can't tell where the rotation counter rotation is. It becomes very hard for me to go, okay, this is resistance, and I can, if I get my setup, I'm pretty confident I can get 10, 15, 20 points out of NQ. I'm not. I have no idea if it's just going to trade sideways and smoke me, or if it's going to give me a 30 or 40 point rotation down. And until I see that rhythm come back, I don't want to be overly aggressive in that product because the pain is just immense when you get it wrong. And it's easy to bury a day trading account in NQ by getting the rotations or the size wrong. So that's my 2 cents. So going back to this, we erase all these lines. So you can see overnight, and overnight was pretty much a similar story after we rotated down. It's just been a grind all night long. I'm sure someone had this short, but even then, the shorts were worth 10 points. So what am I looking for? An increase in rotation, both up and down. I mean, I want it to go down 20 points, up 10 points, down another 15, up another 10. I go, oh, there's rotation back and forth. I can make money here, right? Number two, get below the prior day's low would be a start. And in this case, even getting back inside prior day's high would be a start, right? So that's my 2 cents. There's just an immense amount of cash flow going into NQ and ES, and I don't have a very good reason for shorting it. And so I am going to, and I have been getting frustrated. More importantly, 1 second. Even more importantly, I've been getting frustrated trying to get the two-way rotation. So it's a good time and a good place for me to leave it alone. Okay, so let's go look at ES now that we've said all that. And I need to find one chart just really quick. This is my point and figure. Too many charts. There we go. What chart number is this? Chart number 7. So by the way, because I know I have some CL traders in here, you can see that we've there we are. You can see we've pushed back up into the white zone, counter rotated, right? But we've clearly closed. If we close, I'll tell you right now, if we close back into this bar right here, I will be short here, stop here. So I'm just telling you, all I need is negative bar with a close back into below 56.18. I realize it's a backside test of a white zone. If we close back in with a point of control back in 56.18, I will be short. My target is to retest the lows. So just letting you know. That was my 2 cents. Just like I would have said when we closed underneath here, right? I closed back into this bar right here. I would have put a line like this had I been here at 7:10 in the morning. And I would have been long on this bar right here. I would have added on the 50-60 for the push to the white zone. Okay, so this comes in. I'm short. I will add on a 50-60 retrace. My target is to retarget the low. I'll grant you, we're down a lot and it's an up market, right? So I might get smoked on this, but that's my trade setup. So that's what I'm working for. Okay. I'll keep you posted on that. Let's go do ES real quick and get on with the day. So ES profile. Let's look at it from this perspective. So number one, we've cleared all resistance, right? We have to, in order to go down, we must get below 27.92. The resistance is up here at 28.20 to 28.25. I don't have this particular chart going back that far, but there's a swing high up here. That would be the upside goal, right? So the question is, do we get below the 5-minute low? Do we get below IB low and hold below? And then finally, can we trap back in below 27.94 More importantly, and most importantly, there's no counter rotations. The best entries have been either right within the first 5 or 10 minutes of the day, or very, very, oh, I'm not. Bill, how about now? Can you see the screen now? Sorry, guys. I apologize. And I got that. No problem. Everyone's muted. Apologies. Rough start to the morning. Can everyone see this now? Okay. I'll go back through it again one more time to remind everyone. I apologize. I was missing the screen for the room, so we'll fix that. ES, there's no counter rotations. You got to get back below 27.92 to have any hope of a rotation down. More importantly, I want evidence of a rotation down. I hate ES right now. I don't think there's a good two-way market in it. It's just going straight up to sideways. There's no decent place. Peter would probably argue with me, but there's no decent place to get the counter rotation. That is just as up gets. We're due for a nasty trend day down. Wake me up when it's happening because I don't see it right now. That's all there is to it. On CL, let me go back to CL really quick. If I close in with a red bar back below 56.18, I will be short here. Stop whatever this swing high is. That's my target right now, is to close back into this fractal right here. If it comes in or have another setup. I understand that it can V-shape and we can go straight up. That's been the overnight on CL. And you can see all the blue zones I had. Again, they acted as support and resistance, but ultimately they got easily traded through. Importantly, the white zone got blown up. It's rare for a white zone to get blown up. That's actually an over-under, meaning usually we don't just get this little kink right here and back up. We actually get a tradable rotation. It's traded underneath, established underneath. We've now traded underneath and over on the 24-hour. I want to trade over, under, and over on the RTH. So it's important, even if I get this short and even if it's profitable, if we trade back above, backside test this, I will look for a push back to the upside, but I want it to occur during pit session hours. We don't have that yet. And so I will wait patiently. Again, if it traps back in here, I'm looking for a push back down to retest the lows, and I will take that trade if it occurs. Otherwise, I'll just wait for the next setup. There's nothing else to talk about on CL. Again, everything's extended, and it's extended with everything. This is just simply what a result of we will come in one day, right? We will get a down day like that. It's 57.40 to 55.80. It's a big, fat, beautiful move. And if I'd been around here, my entry would have been, let's see if I would have gotten an entry. Okay, so see all the blue push up here, right? See how this is the last. So there's two things. It would either been this fractal right here or this fractal right here would have been the trap back in. And then you had a trend line break. right here. So I probably would have initiated there with a stop up here. And once we closed back into this point right here, and then this point right here, I was already looking for a downside. I wrote it in the notes last night. I was already looking for a downside move. That would have been beautiful. That would have been a 57.20 for, I mean, realistically, I probably would have taken some off at 56.90 and then left the trailer, and hopefully, and I probably would have covered at 56.50 just because this is the first down day, right? But hypothetically, that was worth 150 ticks, right? And so at any rate, if we close back in over here, I'll go to work. I don't have another setup yet in here, and I don't have a fractal trendline break. So this is the only thing I have to work off of on CL. So if we get back in, I'll take it. Otherwise, wait patiently, right? Let's see if we have anything else. Let me move this off to the right. ES, again, there's no point in fighting it. I know it'll roll over one day. Call me when it does. I'm just not interested in fighting it. 28.20 to 28.25 seems to be a decent target to the upside. It's an old swing high. And looking at it from the one range bar perspective, this includes the overnight. This was London Open here. This would have been my entry at best. Right here. Let me turn this off. Sorry, guys. This would have been my entry right here long. I didn't have a short setup looking at that. And you are getting a fractal trend line. And hypothetically, we closed above this fractal. Not enough. This is the biggest push up in the morning. And we simply haven't gotten, I mean, the delta is not very impressive at this particular point. Usually at the open, you get the biggest delta push there is. We've now closed back in. So if you want an uber aggressive entry, right, it would have been, let's draw this out. It had actually been, this would have been my, again, it's 8:32 in the morning. I don't trade the first half hour. So this would have been the first close back in. This is the second close back in. As long as you don't clear this fractal and you are desiring a short for an ES for some reason, which I am not. I want to be clear. I am not short ES. I'm not shorting ES. I am hating ES right now. I do not think I have the risk reward that I want in ES at all. And I'm simply not trading it, right? So, right, close back in. And then if it does, your natural target would be down to this 2800, 2801, right? So, but as you can see, it's just been a slow slog all night long. And again, to get the short to work, you've had to be picture perfect, get the exact correct entry and the exact correct cover. And then we are also very likely to play the VWAP dance. And I just don't see the attraction to the long or the short on ES from a day trading perspective, unless you are comfortable buying the open, sitting on the position, and rolling all day long. And I want to be clear, some people are. I am not. Okay? It's not my trading style. That is that. I don't have anything else to say about that, right? So long story short, I am in a watch and see mode. I do think we should have a push down. I do think we should have a significant counter rotation lower. I am not ready to make the commitment of my own financial resources to getting that trade. It's just not important to me. Okay, so so I will just stay patient and focus on CL. And by the way, you can wait to see the rotation, counter rotation actually occur, guys, right? It's frustrating to show up every day and just have our primary trading products just going up and up and up and up, right? This is part of the market. There's another side to that coin, right? If you're not good at what you do, what you've done is you've tried to short constantly thinking, gosh, there's got to be a pullback in this. It just can't go straight up. And you've gotten annihilated since December, right? And this is what happens. The short looks fantastic, right? And then we go into this slow grind. This reminds me of February 2016. We just started grinding and we never stopped. We just kept going, right? We got a little bit of volatility and then it just pushed to a new high. Okay, so I'm not arguing that it should go up or it shouldn't go up. What I am arguing is that I don't have the wherewithal or the desire to go long without some type of trap. Like last week, we got a few traps at the low late in the afternoon. I'm willing to go long those because I know that there's people just dying to buy this, or I see a distinctive change in character and it's a shoulder shrug for me. So I'll leave the chart up, but I don't have any desire to really trade this product at this particular juncture. Even though this 2812, 2813 is a valid support resistance area, again, that there's really not a support resistance area from the way I traditionally draw them, but this is an old swing high. It makes sense for potential exhaustion. Then finally, 2843, 2848 is the next area. 2801 should provide support below. I want to check something really quick. Yes, make sure I have this connected correctly. Okay. Chart settings number. Okay, I do. So that's my resistance area. If you want to short, I wish you the best. It's not for me. So I want to see it actually go down and break these buyers. It'll be easier once you break these buyers instead of having to hang on the edge to make a trade work. I'm about to get triggered on a close below 56.18 on CL. So the stop is a little bit bigger than I would normally like. It's a 56.36, right? So it'll be a 56.18. Basically, it'll be 28.38 cents will be my stop, 20-cent stop to 25-cent stop on CL. It's a bigger stop than normal. So what will I do? Half size it. Right, I will look for a half size entry here and a 50-60 back to add. The stop will remain the same. Realizing that I am shorting what could potentially be a V-shape down. If it stops, I'll just kind of shrug my shoulders and go, it stopped. What do you want me to do? I would take that trade 100 times. So that's my target. It's not in a great area because it's not stretched, but if you're going to have a trend day down, that would be a perfect trap area for rolling it to the downside. And again, half here, half on the 50-60 back from whatever this ends up being. If I get that, I will add full stop, essentially 56.40 for all practical purposes. Realize that 56.40 stop is inside of a potential support resistance area, but I've got to draw the line somewhere on how much risk I'm willing to take on a trade, and 20 cents about does it. Hypothetically, if I put the correct stop, it would be 56.50. I'm not willing to pay that. So that's my compromise. And usually I don't end up having to pay that price for being wrong. So I would just assume take it twice. So that's exactly how I will handle that particular trade. I need to do something here real quick. I need to make sure my domes are all trade. There we go. And just checking really quick. Okay, we're in business. So anyone have any questions, guys? I don't have any major points. We're going up and market's liking going up, and that's all okay with me. Again, notice how we just simply see how the market just simply wouldn't close back in. If we close back in here, if we close, and I don't have anything to draw off of, so this would technically now trigger, this one location would trigger a close underneath here. It'd be a double trigger. We'd close back into this and underneath this PSC. We'd close back into this speed bar, which is an algorithm generated, right? We would close underneath here and then roll underneath. Conversely, if we close above this point now, this 56.40, it would trigger another push to the upside. I don't have a setup for that long. Hypothetically, if we closed into, when we closed back into this bar, it was long, but it's already come so far off the low that I don't have anything. And importantly, see how this is the biggest push to the downside here in the morning, right here. I will say this, a close with a point of control above 56.38 on a positive bar right here, and again, this is a 5-range bar, could easily launch us for a 50 or 60 tick move up into 56.90. I'm not taking that. I'm going to watch for a little bit. Okay. So that's all I have. I will keep CL and NQ since ES and NQ up, since that's what the majority of the traders in the room are trading. fix this up. No, don't do that. Window, tile vertically. Let's get rid of this. Let's do window, tile vertically. And then we will just tiny this. We'll make this bigger. We'll make this smaller so we can reference it. We need to pull this down, pull this over. There we go. Let me fix this. There we go. And you can see we're just trading sideways through there. We're just not doing anything. So I need to see some motion in there to get a trade off. Otherwise, I don't have anything yet. By the way, the stop does now go to 56.40 on that CL trade. So the stop's simply getting bigger. There's nothing we can do about that. And then here's NQ. Let's move CL. Why do I have two of these up? I don't need two of these. So I think we shall get rid of this one. Okay. And then let's find the and the only thing I have to tip me off again, the stop would be just freaking suck. Would be close back into this fractal right over here. So I'll draw a line around it. I would set up a potential trigger if you want it. Your stop on that, again, if you want it, your entry would be around 71.52. Your stop's all the way up at almost 71.70. It's too big. I'm not going to take a $400 contract loss. The other way to do it is simply put your stop if you close back above VWAP on this pushback up. NQ, all of these are set up to get bone crushed to the downside. But actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I would wait till it closed back in here. Actually, see how it's responding right off of it. You could technically put your stop behind this fractal right here, now that I think about it. So the entry would actually be in the 71.52 neighborhood, and the stop would be 71.63, and you're going to bet that they're going to push back in on that. Okay, so that's the setup if you're looking for it. I'll point it out when it sets up. Again, I am not taking it because I do not trust the downside on this thing. And then the last piece is I have not looked up the econ for today. I imagine we have almost nothing, but let's find out. There's your speed bars. Again, a point of control closes back in. You just simply don't want it back above 71.60. You'll notice how careful they are not to let it close back into that bar, by the way. I always find that fascinating, right? And I just don't have it set up on ES yet. Maybe if we close underneath. So there is the 3 up, guys. I forgot about that. Right, so point of control underneath that with a stop right above would trigger a short back to the downside again. You got to remember, people have been trading VWAP pretty religiously, right? So And we do not have, so if this bar were to close next, see how the point of control didn't close back in on this? Point of control closed back in. My stop would be 71.63 roughly. It's roughly a 13-point stop, $260 for the stop. There's not much you can do. That's the entry. So do half stop above if it closes back in. And we have wholesale inventories at 9 a.m., which is in 5 minutes. Expect algos over the next 5 minutes. And I don't trade in front of the 9 o'clock algo deal anyways. So pick your poison and go from there would be my suggestion. I don't have anything else to add on that. I am hunting that CL trap if it'll set up below 56.18. Would find me short. We'll see where we are after 9 o'clock. Guys on YouTube, thanks for joining. I know I was a little disjointed this morning. There's not much to say when we keep driving up and we can't get any relief to the downside. It's hard to. Every dip's getting bought. And my specialty, just so you know, is trading the volatility up and down, right? When there's no volatility, my job is to protect my capital. You can get very, very frustrated when the market doesn't fit your trading. See how we're not getting any points of control closing back in here, right? The computers are very careful with this, okay? This isn't like a small issue, okay? The computers are very, very careful. ES not making it back to VWAP, right? If we look at the 5-minute bar, right? Notice we're not underneath the first 5 minute, the low of the first 5 minute. There's a lot of things that we're looking for. Half gap, gap fill. You know, the only way you get this short properly is for you to be able to guess the PA. And why do you want to do that would be my question, right? Why would you want to do that when, and heck, I lost the chart that I was looking for. Why would you want to do that when getting the roll to the downside is just so very, very hard, right? Really what you're hoping for is a trap on the downside, trap back in for a push back up, or to show them actually bone crushing it and get them to push it down. So patience. We should get at least one good trade today. We now actually have a close back in, so it's right before 9 o'clock. Normally I would be short this, right? Again, my stop would be right. It's roughly 71.63. I'm not taking it because we're 3 minutes in front of econ, even though the econ's not significant. The algos are, and they can run you for a stop pretty quickly. So I'll just wait patiently. But normally I would be short right there in almost any other market. Does anyone have any questions? Did I do a good job covering it? I thought CL was the best short out there, and they crushed it overnight. I wasn't here to trade it. I see a lot of delta divergence into this push up into 56.33, 56.46 on CL. So again, I am willing to take this trade if it closes back in. I see just the delta falling way off over here after the open. There's just no strength on the push up, but now the trap has to occur. Okay, so because I don't short into the middle of space. So anyway, guys on YouTube, thanks for joining. And we will be back tomorrow, guys in the room. Patience. We'll get our setup. We'll get paid. Talk to you in a little bit.